So it's Archangel Raphael. And so when we can experience the glory in others, then we experience this within ourselves. In other words, when you see the glory in others, you also heal within yourself because you start being the witness of the divine when you see that within others. And so I'm here to share upon the world that they have these healing hands, that they have these healing hearts, and that they are to have the healing minds. The disease that happens within our beings is because we have gone astray. We have stopped orienting ourselves to that sense of inner peace. And if you can reorient your mind to experience peace, this is when changes will happen.
Welcome back to the Celestevolve podcast. I'm honored and thrilled to welcome back Genevieve Taeger back on the podcast. Welcome, Genevieve. How are you doing today?
Thank you. I'm doing well. Nice to be here.
The first question that I want to ask you is that we have a lot of different channelers who channel Yeshua, God, etc. But I think when you channel, the messages are so much more clearer, so much more crisp. And why is that happening? Is it because you're like a radio tuning and then you tune the right frequency, or has it got anything to do with the others probably not exactly channeling the entities we think that they're channeling?
Well, it depends on the person. I mean, there are definitely people who are doing that, who are channeling the beings who are coming through. And, some people do question me because I just sound normal sometimes, or I just sound the same between the beings and all that kind of stuff. And whereas other people can tune into the nuances. I think for me, it's just that I have been doing a lot of work connecting with these beings. I've done a lot of work on myself, and I can go deep. I can surrender to it and I think, it's a matter too, sometimes for some people it could be just feeling uncomfortable coming out like this in public. And I've evolved over time, and I'm still going to continue to evolve. It's not something that I will be the same 10 years from now, as an example. So it's a journey for everyone.
When you say you've evolved over time while channeling ascended masters, God, etc., how do you see the evolution happening? How is it in the early stages of your channeling versus now?
So the earlier stages, I was doing automatic writing. So connecting that way, and which is a great way to connect. And then when I started to channel, basically, I had to kind of get to know, who am I communicating with? How do they communicate with me? What are the visuals or the thoughts that come to me? And just recognizing the difference between my thoughts and their thoughts, and learning how to ascend myself to be able to connect with them. And the other thing is that it's a very high frequency that comes through me, and it can be challenging to handle the energy. So that's one thing that I've had to get used to is really being able to handle that energy. And so over time, I think for me, the evolving portion has to do with being able to recognize this information and also being able to surrender. Because there's the egoic part who worries about what people think and all this kind of stuff. And I've had to kind of get used to that and let go of that part. Because many people are nervous about sharing this kind of stuff into the world, even their spirituality, or people who are into doing Reiki, or just simple things that people are into. They may feel nervous about sharing that into the world with other people.
Yeah, 100%. I think when I was practicing automatic writing, in the beginning, it would be just a word or two, wouldn't be so much. And now then it evolves into a sentence, and then it becomes a paragraph, and then there is more. And I think what happens is, now when sometimes people ask me questions, and I try to, when they share, because I started posting online about all of this, and then a lot of people would start sharing their personal concerns and questions to me. And I freak out because in my, as me, I'm like, what? Are they doing this to you? How dare they? This is how I respond in general. And then I panic, and I'm like, okay, I don't know if I can even channel any answer for them. I don't know what I'm doing. But then when I decide to sit down and just ask, the answers still come through. And when the answer comes through, it's like, oh, that was common sense. Like in the beginning, it would feel scary, but the answer is always just positive, and there is no, you have to do this. Because a lot of the times it would be, should I pick this or should I pick that? And the answer is never pick this or pick that. It's still generic. It's still asking, giving the empowerment back to them to choose. How has it been like that for you?
Well, it also was uncomfortable when I first started sharing messages for other people, as an example, because I didn't know what was going to come through me. And I had to kind of get used to trusting this information. And then the interesting thing, though, is the response that would happen as a result is that people that would then share, wow, like that makes so much sense, and so then the level of confidence increased over time. But it took time, it took practice. Sometimes the kind of questions people ask are disempowering. And that's one thing that I really want to encourage people to do, is take back their power and not to idolize ascended masters, to see them and other benevolent beings, to see them more as your equal, and that they're just a friend here to help. And if they can do that and let go of the feeling like there's something above them, because that's not the case. They're always around here to help us, and to kind of ask questions that will help you to make the next great steps in your life. That's what I recommend for people, rather than asking kind of vague questions that are not really empowering for themselves.
Could you give maybe a couple of examples on what you mean by vague and disempowering questions, and what they could probably ideally ask?
Yeah, so questions like, I have to think about this. So what's who are my guides? Why am I here? Rather than what steps should I take to be able to discover my purpose? Why am I here? What am I not doing to be able to discover this and move forward? Is it something that I already know that I'm afraid of? What's stopping me from doing those things? Because inside of you, there's always this calling, and there's a part of people who are afraid to go forth with this calling. They seem to want to have 100% verification that if they take that step, then everything will turn out right. And so they want to hear this 100% verification, like some pie in the sky coming down and saying, you are meant to be doing this thing. And when you go out and do it, there's a 100% guarantee that you won't fall, that you're going to get all the finances you need, that you have all the freedom you need, and all this kind of stuff. And the truth is, if I were to say that to someone, they still won't do it, because they haven't addressed that fear inside of themselves and that lack of belief inside of themselves. So if they can focus instead on wanting to take those steps, but understanding what's stopping them and discovering what it is that they can do, then this is when shifts can happen in their lives and they can make great change for themselves.
Those were the exact questions I wanted to ask, but I've been embarrassed to ask those questions because I know those were disempowering too. It doesn't make sense to ask those questions because I know that the thoughts that I get, what I channel, is not mine, because that's not how I think. But then I'm curious to know who that is. What if it is some famous ET from another planet? It would have made me feel better. It's not. So I never get answers like that. So I asked them, hey, give me a voice, give me some sounds, give me something. But yeah, I don't get anything like that. How do you respond to people idolizing you? Because I suppose there would be a lot of people also looking up to you and thinking that probably you are God, you are more special than them. How do you respond to that?
Yeah, like people might think, oh, you've got all these beings that are supporting you. You're so, advanced on your level of evolution and all this kind of stuff. And the thing I say to them is, you are the same person. You have that within you. You are that. And to help people, I have compassion for them and love for them. And I also, at the same time, bring forth the power through me to remind them of that power within them. And in that moment, this is when people experience that energy. They experience that healing within them, and they can't deny it. And, they can have a blissful moment with that remembrance that exists within them. And that's what I do, is I just try to, find a way to shine the mirror back on them so that they can experience it. And sometimes it's a matter of an experience, because rather than words, because, some people, like, if you can think about when people have had near death experiences, and it's hard to put words to it. But once you have an experience like that, or an out of body experience, you will always remember it. You'll always remember that divinity that existed, and that becomes a part of you. In the same way, if someone experiences healing, they remember the experience of, if they're sensitive to energy and they feel the warmth of the energy, they feel the love of the energy, they can't deny it. And it becomes an experience that they always remember. And that's why something like Reiki is a great method for people to be able to, discover that part of themselves, that love that exists within them, that powerful energy that exists. And some people might not feel it right away, but over time they will. And through that experience, that's when people have that remembrance. And so that's what I try to do, is try to bring that experience for people. And many people do experience this kind of energy coming through when I'm talking to them. And I don't know why it happens, to be honest with you, but it does. And people are meant to experience that. So it's like a beautiful awakening that people can have.
When you have questions about Reiki, or when you are going to perform Reiki on someone, whom do you call upon? Because I think there are Reiki guides and then there are the Ascended Masters. Is there a difference?
Okay, so I'm going to answer it in a different way, but Reiki is God. That's what Reiki is. Reiki is the divine. It is this omnipresence. If you can envision that we are in this matrix of energy, and we also have this meridian system in our beings, we have our energy centers, and we're not separate from this matrix of energy. And this matrix of energy is God, and this omnipresence is always having energy, and we are always a part of this energy. And the more we place our attention on this energy, the more we experience it, the more our meridians open up, the more like the tap opens up and the flow comes through our being. And it's not just energy though. So the one thing that people don't understand who haven't had a near-death experience or an out-of-body experience is that this energy is also love, and it is also intelligence. So the quality of this energy exists of power, which we all know. You can know about electricity and all that. But it also has love, an immense amount of love. It's the kind of love that you've never experienced here on earth from people. It is beyond the love that you have for your children. It is more intense than that. And the intelligence is incredible. So when you have a question in your consciousness, the answer already is there. And you experience that when you have something like an out-of-body experience or near-death experience. So this Reiki is, the way people have translated it is spiritually guided life force energy. But it's not just that. It is the divine. So and why is it that people experience this energy when they take Reiki? Why is it? Why is it that they don't experience it before then? So through the intention that you want to have more of it, that's your intention when you come to Reiki class, then what happens is your meridians open up more. You get a stronger flow coming through. You get yourself to that next level of being able to harness this energy more powerfully. And then then you get taught, okay, I can actually use this energy, it can come out of my hands. And so the more you practice with it, then the more this energy comes through again. So it comes even more powerfully through you. And then it becomes something that you can continue to work on over time. I learned Reiki in 2008, and I've been using it every day on myself. And so this is how I have evolved over time, is that I can feel this powerful energy and I can use it in the work that I do. This is, I think the mistake that people make, thinking that Reiki is just some separate thing some kind of modality, but they don't understand that that's actually God.
This is true because I don't think even the people who do Reiki or the people who teach Reiki know what it is. They are able to feel it. I mean, when I went to go and study Reiki, I was a complete skeptic. I was in fact praying over there thinking, oh my God, please take me out of here because I don't understand what these people are doing. They would draw these symbols and they would do things that they would talk about how they're seeing things, they're feeling things, and I didn't feel anything. So I felt like something was wrong with me and probably I'm not special or maybe they are probably faking it and they're not feeling anything. So it was a very difficult time. I hated it. I came back and I'm like, I'm never going back to anything about these things, or like I even just hated the country altogether because of how much of a skeptic I was. But then after I came back, I think 2 years later, 1.5 years later is when I began to actually feel. For the first time, I decided, okay, let me just try that. And I decided to reopen the books. And back when I was studying Reiki and when the teacher was teaching it, I didn't understand a word she was saying. But this time, when I opened it, I understood every single word. It was like I understood everything. And then when I decided to call upon for the energy to come through, and I started feeling the tingling and I started feeling these sensations. And then I realized, oh my God, this is what they were talking about back then. But then I don't understand, why do we have to attune ourselves? Isn't it possible for everyone to get God's energy? Why the attunement? Hey everyone, I am super excited to be sharing this amazing news with you guys. I have been officially accepted into the YouTube Partner Program. Yay! This milestone wouldn't have been possible without your incredible support, and I can't thank you enough for being a part of my journey. Whether you've been here from the start or just joined us, your likes, comments, and subscriptions mean the world to me. If you enjoy the content and you haven't subscribed yet, now would be the perfect time for you to join our community. You can also show your support by using the Super Thanks feature or joining our membership for exclusive perks just for you. Thanks again for everything. Now let's dive back into the video.
Yes, exactly. It does happen through everyone. We wouldn't be alive without it. Like that is the energy that keeps us alive. And people can have Reiki without having to go take a Reiki class and all that kind of stuff. There are many people who suddenly started. Actually, I met a woman recently who said, what is this energy? Like, my hands are getting hot. I've been starting to feel this lately. And I said, that's Reiki. That's what's happening for you. You're meant to work with it, to experience it. And so it does flow through everyone. It's just that when someone comes to a Reiki class and they have that attunement, as an example, it's just that their intention is they're ready for more. And so then they start to experience more. We are the creators. We're let's just say, the co-creators with the divine. And we are created in the likeness and image of the divine. So the moment we think about this energy, it comes there, it expands, it gets stronger. And so someone at home who never took a Reiki class could also do that. The moment they think about it, this energy, it's going to start happening. They'll start having a relationship with it.
This is true. I mean, I think when this recording started itself, I could feel the tingling in my palms. And I think that because also there's so much misinformation going on. There's one that I read where if you don't get yourself attuned, then when you are performing Reiki on someone else, you will take upon their problems and their karma. Genevieve, do you think now would be a time that we could probably channel? Last time I invited the Divine Creator, and that was a beautiful episode, guys. If you haven't watched it, please go back and check it out. It was so good. This time I'm ready for anyone who would come through. So probably I would just wait for you to open up and see.
All right. So let's see. I'll tell you, let me just tap in and see who's going to come for you. So it's Archangel Raphael, surprisingly. I say surprisingly because it's not always that often that he comes for channeling. I have done automatic writing with him and all that, but it's not that often that he comes to channel. So I will. Okay. Welcome, beloved Tanya, and it is nice to be here. How may I be of service to you?
To be honest with you, Archangel Raphael, I do not know much about you. Could you please tell us something? What do you do? I mean, I think you are known for healing. Could you please tell us a lot more about you?
Absolutely. So this is exactly what I'm here to remind those about the healing nature that exists within them, because this is the topic that you too so dearly are referencing right now in this moment. I am here to help those to experience the healing, the enlightenment that exists within them, to understand that they are not alone as well, because many people go through human challenges, physical challenges, and are having great problems with being able to heal. So I'm the one to help people get the help that they need, get the physician that they need, maybe get the spiritual entrepreneur that they need. Whatever it is that they need, I'm here to help them. I'm here to lay upon them the healing hands, to bring forth the great emerald green, to help those to get that soothing balm inside of their being, to realize that there's more to life than just the physical manifestations, that we are here to also bring forth the glory upon the glory is here for humankind. And so when we can experience the glory in others, then we experience this within ourselves. In other words, when you see the glory in others, you also heal within yourself, because you start being the witness of the divine when you see that within others. And so I'm here to share upon the world that they have these healing hands, that they have these healing hearts, and that they are to have the healing minds. Because when you are realizing that the healing mind exists within you and everyone, that there is a higher consciousness that you can tap into, that you can realize that there's this intelligence that can lead the way for you, and that you can learn and discover the art of surrendering, so that when you do, you experience an inner peace. And in that inner peace, you calm your mind and you return to a state of wholeness, so that you can understand what it is like to bring peace, not just to mankind, but to yourself as well. This is the time when we are meant to reorient ourselves so that we can experience the inner peace within ourselves. You see, the disease that happens within our beings, our human beings, is because we have gone astray. We have stopped orienting ourselves to that sense of inner peace. When your mind is going amok and you're continually worrying and thinking about things that are not happening, you have chaos in your body, and your organs stop functioning in the way that they are meant to. And if you can reorient your mind to experience peace, this is when changes will happen. But to reorient the mind, you must also have an experience within yourself. You must slow down and experience love. Feel that sense of love within yourselves. Understand what it takes to experience this inner peace that is coming from the Holy of Holies.
Thank you, Angel. I have a question regarding Reiki, since we were discussing about Reiki itself. In Reiki, we use symbols and techniques, but I find it hard to believe that we need those symbols to heal someone. I cannot imagine Jesus drawing symbols in the air or asking for multiple sessions. So is this necessary, or is this just another roadblock in people's minds where they think that they need to do all of these things in order to heal themselves?
People misunderstand what symbols are. Symbols are frequencies. When you can understand that frequency energy comes through everything. As you know, there's a rainbow of light, and rainbow of light has different frequencies. Red has a frequency, orange, yellow, green, and so forth. And so when you experience these frequencies, they serve a function in the healing for yourself. So when you need healing for a specific organ, as an example, a particular frequency is necessary to come forth through your being to be able to heal that organ. And so symbols are actually frequencies, and they come forth with this range of frequency to assist in the healing. You need not have it. You need not be attuned to it. What you could do is you could place your attention on the function of what this frequency is, to understand that you can bring forth the healing power for those in need and for yourself as well. But understanding that you can attune yourself to the sensitivity of recognizing these frequencies. Over time, as an example, you could recognize the frequency of red coming through your being. It is very different than the frequency of yellow or the frequency of green. Green is a very soothing frequency. Pink is a very soothing frequency. Red can be very grounding, but it is also very activating. And so when you understand frequencies, then you can experience them. But it is very difficult for someone to say, okay, let's bring forth frequency 10, because you won't necessarily be understanding what that is and you won't be feeling it. It won't make any sense to you. And so when you have a visual of a symbol as an example, you are now inviting in this frequency range. But let me also share with you is that you do not need to be thinking about these things. Rather, immerse yourself in the healing and immerse yourself in the divine intelligence. Let the omnipotent divine lead the way for you. When you tap into your intuition, you're tapping into this divine intelligence. And so when you do Reiki as an example and you're healing yourself or you're healing others, what you're doing is you're tapping into this divine intelligence to lead the way. For instance, someone is having a problem and they want help with that problem. Your job is not to focus on the problem and healing that problem. Your job is to focus on intuitively hearing what it is that you are supposed to do for this person. Where are you supposed to go on this person's body to provide healing? Perhaps they have a toothache, but the divine is saying to you, go to the right knee and heal the right knee. And it may not make any sense to you, but you must learn to trust in this divine intelligence, because the divine intelligence knows what it is that this person needs. And when you go to the knee, then there's this energy that's coming through you. This intelligence knows what frequencies to send through this person. And so when you get attuned to these frequencies, it just means that you are more enabled, you have an ability to be able to bring forth these various frequencies through your being. You always had that ability, but because you have been attending the class, you have this intention now to open your meridians more, to be able to handle more higher frequencies, various frequencies through your being. Am I making any sense to you?
Yes, I understand what you are saying. And I wonder if it would be really possible for everybody to feel the frequencies, and whether there is any way someone could make a mistake while trying to do Reiki if they couldn't feel anything.
One need not feel anything. And in fact, some may not feel anything because their sensitivities may not be that strong when it comes to feeling energy. However, when you can understand that you can adapt yourself to whoever you are, to how you experience things, you can understand and trust that there's this energy coming through you. There's a knowing that's coming through you, that you can experience energy in your own way. It could be that you just know it is there, or you could witness the changes that are happening within yourself or within others when you get this healing. And so is there a right way and a wrong way? Well, the truth of the matter is, when you can surrender to the divine doing the healing, when you can allow the divine to show you the way, and you just do those things that the divine shows you, this is when the more powerful healing can happen for others. Versus if you want to be in control and you want to decide what it is that that person needs for healing, this is when you're setting limitations and you're not allowing a full holistic healing to occur for the person. And so there's no harm that it is done. However, they might not receive the holistic healing that would be really helpful for them.
Reiki healers also talk about the need for multiple sessions. Is that needed? Because I'm not sure if Jesus would have done multiple sessions. He probably would have healed them in an instant.
The power of the healing exists on two fronts. It exists on the front of the healer and the one being healed. And so when the consciousness is aware of this holy presence that is fully here for the person, then a very powerful energy can come through for the other person. And so the amount of healing that could come through you, the amount of this energy that comes through you, is dependent upon your frame of thinking. If you know that you are one with the Holy Spirit and have zero doubt about this, that you experience the Holy Spirit and you are a walking Holy Spirit, then immediately this full force energy will be coming through you. And the person on the receiving end who knows that this person is fully in the Holy Spirit, they will then receive this healing as well in the most miraculous, impactful way. And so it is dependent upon our states of minds. And Jesus, as you know, was the walking Holy Spirit. He was in tune with this Holy Spirit. He knew that the Holy Spirit is walking through him. And so in that 100% knowing, there is no doubt. And when others are doing healing, they have doubt. They have not reached that level of omnipotence within themselves because they don't understand that they have this within them, that they're inseparable from this divinity. And so the only difference is that Jesus was 100% aware of this, whereas every human being here is not.
When we talk about diseases, there are so many women on the planet who are suffering from many different kinds of hormonal and reproductive struggles, perimenopause, PCOS, endometriosis, fibroids, infertility. Are they all saying the same thing, or does each of this have a different message for us?
Everyone goes through their own journey of problems due to various issues, one being ancestral. So the ancestral memory comes forth into the next body. There have been times when people also had trauma during those times. And so if you can imagine, every human being has experienced trauma in their lives, some form of control, some form of manipulation, some form of brutal torture. Everyone has gone through this, through the lifetimes they have lived or through the lifetimes their ancestors have lived. And so they carry this within their being. And unless this is healed, then issues will come up in the body. The other form of disease that occurs is due to the foods that people eat and the pollution that people breathe in. One must detoxify every day in order to handle this energy that comes through them, this toxicity energy that comes through them, because it is causing harm to the body. These pollutants that are in our foods did not come from the divine. So anything that is not of the divine source, of course, naturally will cause harm to our bodies. And so if you can imagine how many things you have eaten since you're a baby, over all the years, even in the milk that some people drank from their mother, over all those years going into the body, what can naturally happen to the body is that harm will happen for them because their body is not meant to handle this level of toxicity.
If everything that is available has these toxins in them, then does it mean that we wouldn't be able to be disease-free? How do we deal with that?
That is correct. Archangel Raphael hesitates to share that with you, but he says that is correct. In essence, though, if you can be the one who is walking fully with the divine and raising your consciousness so that you experience this Holy Spirit within you, that you understand this power that exists within you, then you will detoxify in a great manner. Meaning that, yes, if you keep putting these foods into your mouth and you keep breathing this pollution, you will have a level of toxicity in your being. It is something that you cannot get away from. That is why every day it is essential to take care of your body as much as you can. And when you can do that, then you will not feel the negative effects that your body could have if you didn't detoxify your system and take care of yourself. And so when you stay aligned also with this knowing of the power that exists within you, then you will have an okay life. You will not be struggling so much with the problems with the body that occurs when people do not do those things.
That does make sense. Archangel Raphael, when we are calling upon you versus the Ascended Masters versus God, what is actually happening? Is there a difference in the way we receive information or support? And what exactly is the difference?
We are all a part of each other. We are all facets of the same thing. You are a facet of the divine light. I'm a facet of the divine light. And Ascended Master is a facet of the divine light. You have your own individuality, as do I. My individuality is focused on the healing omnipresence that exists within this divinity. I was created in the image and likeness of the divine, and so were you. My purpose is to expand the healing potentiality that exists within each one, to understand this potentiality that exists within everyone, so that they may experience this within others. And so when you call upon me, the truth is that you are remembering that part of you that has this potentiality within you. I am just a mirror of that potentiality that exists within you. I am showing up as a form so that you can have a relationship with something that you can understand better, rather than thinking of me as a frequency and as a knowledge, which would be very confusing for the human body to think that there are just frequencies and information. But the truth is, that is just what we are. You and me, we are just frequency. We are just an intelligence. We are not a body. We are just in this form of intelligence. And so when you can narrow in on this intelligence, when you can focus on the fact that we are these healing omnipresent beings, then you can understand who I am. You can feel my divine Holy One within you. You can know that this divine Holy One exists within you. You can know that you are healed one. You can know that you are one with this Holy Spirit that has this healing potential within it, that this healing potential is ever expansive, that the universe continually expands, that the divine is always this expansive one. And so when you know this, then you know me. And when you know this, you know the divine. When you know this, you know every ascended master on this planet. You know everything that exists within everyone, because you have the ability to tap into those things. And so when you think about love as an example, you automatically know and experience this presence of love because you have experienced love. And so you can understand that if you can focus on any frequency of intelligence, you have the ability to do so. Intelligence can tap into different ascended masters, different beings. If I can tap into the being of Tanya, I can at will, because I know your unique frequency. I know who you are. I know your playfulness. I know everything about you. And so this is how we tap into each other. We are one. All you are doing is tapping into this fractal of light to experience me, to experience this intelligence. And that is what people can better understand, is that we are merely all one and fractals of each other.
Is it true that angels take human form when people are going through distress to come and save them?
This is a secret that I'm not to with you.
Okay. That is nice. I will not share the secret with anybody else, I guess, maybe outside of the podcast. Thank you so much, Archangel Raphael, for coming through and speaking with us. We really appreciate it.
Many blessings to you.
Archangel Raphael doesn't come through that often. So how does his energy feel like?
So I feel frequencies, and I just felt a very high frequency energy, because angels tend to be very high in frequency. And like versus if you were to talk to someone who passed on the other side, it's a much different frequency, much lower. And so, and the more I got, connected with him, the more I started to feel that power. Like the last question was, there was a lot of power coming through him, I could feel. And because he wanted people to experience the power, versus earlier, he was more kind of just answering questions kind of thing. And I could still feel that high frequency the whole time. It's just at the same time, I felt this power coming through. It's kind of like I was dissolving into that power.
Does it damage the human vessel by any chance? Like, does it cause any problems to you when you are channeling such high frequencies?
It does. You need to ground. You need to, get out in nature, be a human. And like some people think that, oh, you're doing it all the time. And no, I do not. I do not do it all the time. I try to be a human most of the time. With channeling, there's a lot of work done from here up. So you're tapping into this higher, so you're not working so much on the lower chakra systems, like, just doing everyday life things, talking to people, being a part of life, going shopping, like all these things that you need to be balanced.
last year I had started the podcast and I had channelers come in, and then I was also practicing a lot of meditation, etc. What happened was I put on a lot of weight, and that is because I think when you keep channeling, in order to ground, you also eat a lot. And I also started to get this heel pain. When I was looking into why does a heel pain happen, it came through that it's about not grounding enough. If you could describe what grounding means and why it is important, because I think there are so many more new people right now who are venturing into these and they're trying out all of these spiritual tactics. They want to ascend, because I was there too. What would you say to them?
Me too. I was there too.
You too? I just wanted to be an ascended master this lifetime,
I was where everyone else was at too. So some people, like, they'll use stones as an example, right? Like they'll use grounding stones, and that's not always enough. Grounding. So what is grounding? Grounding is where you're feeling more like a human, meaning like you're not buzzing in your head, like, lightheaded and all that. If someone gets to the point of feeling lightheaded, they need to ground. Now, some people say it is effective when they're holding a particular crystal like obsidian or, certain grounding crystals. However, they're missing out also on being a part of life. Like if they're just focusing on doing readings for people and just continually doing this and connecting and all this kind of stuff, it is true that a lot of people do also gain weight, because if you think about root vegetables and, meat and just certain foods are grounding, they're like, I need more. It becomes this necessity that you need it because you need to ground. You need the minerals in your system to kind of help you to feel more grounded. If you are someone who is regularly going out in nature and intentionally connecting and feeling the, not on your phone, so some people are out there going for walks and they're on their phone continually, or if they're listening to music that just makes them more excited and not so grounded, then they're not getting that full sensation of grounding, and where you can start to feel like a human. Like if you were out camping for a week, as an example, and you had no technology with you, you would be, what that feeling is. Your body would feel like, oh, it feels great to have a body. It feels great to feel alive. And you get that excitement inside of you to just enjoy being human. And this is what people have been straying away from. Too much technology is also focusing on these higher fields, usually the brain area, and that's not grounding. This is why people start to have a lot of different things going on. ADHD and, the busy mind kind of thing starts to happen. So it's really important to, in my viewpoint, nature is the best method of grounding.
That makes a lot of sense. And when it comes to, because, when you talk about nature, I mean, where I stay, there's not a single tree in front of me. And then when it comes to crystals, I think I keep getting scammed with crystals all the time. I don't know why. I went to Turkey too, and I bought some crystals, and I think I got scammed there too. So what other option do you have? I mean, if a crystal is not really a crystal, can I still imagine it to be like a real crystal and still get the benefits, or it doesn't really work that way?
I love your questions, by the way. They're really fantastic. So you can actually, we're a part of Earth. We're connected to Earth. Below your feet, buried down there, are crystals. So you can connect with Earth. It has a vibration. And you can just envision connecting with Earth, as an example, and you start to ground. So you can actually kind of mentally connect with the crystals. You don't have to personally buy them, as an example. You can just connect with the crustacean of the Earth and don't have to even think about crystals. You can connect with the soil of the Earth. Another method energetically to do is there's a chakra below your feet called the Earth Star chakra, and it's 3 centimeters below your feet, approximately, let's just say. And so when you're channeling, people who channel, they tend to go here, 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 and up here. And I go up here and into the Sacred Heart portal as well, to the Divine Mind. But if you can at the same time place your attention on the Earth Star chakra, then immediately you start to feel that grounding as well at the same time. So that's another method of grounding. doing things like swimming. A lot of people can feel good when they're in water. And take a mud bath. I've never done that before. Not really. Yeah. Not really. But, you could do something like that.
If Tanya wants, let her do, not me.
And different foods. But again, like if that's all you're doing, then that might become too much of a habit for you.
You had written the book about awakening the goddess within. Now, what can you tell us about the different goddess archetypes? And also, how does the energy of the goddess different from that of the god?
Okay. So like the god, like the Hindu gods.
Probably. I do not understand even what goddess energy means. I don't know what it means because we always pray to the god and there is the divine creator energy which comes across masculine to me. But the goddess energy coming from a Christian background, I don't understand what that means, and I never prayed to any female gods. So what does that energy mean?
Okay, cool. Love that. So what is God to you then as a Christian?
It was an old man who knew everything, sitting up in the cloud, ready to judge you all the time.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's not God.
Yeah.
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 And that's what the people experience when they have that near-death experience or the out-of-body experience, is they have this experience of when you go into that energy, you experience it's like the sun is beaming upon you, and it's if you can imagine the color of the sun, and you have your eyes closed and you can see that brightness in your eyes, and you can feel the rays coming towards you. You feel the warmth of the rays, right, from the sun. So when you're experiencing God, you experience that, but you also experience that you are part of the rays, that you are this light, shimmering light, that you are the sound of there's a vibration. So you experience the vibration of this light. And this light, every ray that's coming at you is filled with intense love. Intense, like if you can think of the love that you have for your children, it's like a millionfold more. And so what happens is you experience that, and you realize you're also part of it, but you experience that it's coming from this source, this sun, and yet you've experienced yourself as part of the sun, as the rays, and it's kind of like, wow, like, and so you experience this love, and you experience an intelligence, and this intelligence is where, because you're still a consciousness, and you get curious and you start asking questions, and immediately the intelligence has the answer for you in these rays. And so communication happens not through a mouth and a physical body, it happens through your consciousness, because that saying in the beginning was the word. So there's power in that statement. It's basically letting you know that there's a consciousness that thinks in this energy. So this energy that I'm talking about is not just energy, it's a love, and it's an intelligence, and it's incredible power. It's a warmth, it's a vibration, it's a sound. That is God. That's what God is. And we are part of that. And so we are created so that we can continue creating, create these manifestations, but not only that, but to experience God. So we came here to experience it as well. And versus if you weren't born, if you weren't that, and if it was just God itself and no creations from God, then there would be nothing to experience. You would just be. It's just like if you were water, you would just be water. You wouldn't be experiencing yourself. You just would be it. That's it. And so this is the beauty of God. This is the beauty of the divine. And many people have a hard time with the word God. That's why I'm using it so much, because we need to heal from that word and not feel afraid of that word, because this is what this is, this powerful presence that we are. Now, when you experience goddesses or you experience gods and stuff like that, so there are these spirits that are created from the divine. And these spirits are nature spirits, celestial spirits, ascended masters, angels. So some goddesses are known as celestials. Some goddesses are known as nature spirits, like Mother Moon spirit is is a spirit. Well, no, Goddess Daphne is a good example. So Goddess Daphne is the spirit of nature, and her title is goddess in front of her. However, there are other goddesses who are ascended masters. Goddess Athena, she was actually an ascended master. Goddess Isis, she was an ascended master. They lived here on Earth before, and not everyone knows that. They just remember the story of these beings, and so they think that they're just like an archetype that was created, but that's not the case. So none of these are archetypes in the sense of a myth, as an example. They are actual creations. A good example, too, is I had channeled Hanuman. I don't know how to say it, Hanuman, but
Yeah, Hanuman.
okay, so I channeled him one time, and he came through when I was doing a session for someone, and I had never channeled him before. And he came through, and I said, like, okay, I don't know his name, but he looks like this. And I said, he's like a monkey man. And so he came through, and also to show me that he is not like a myth. He's a spirit. He exists. He's an identity. He's here to help for a certain purpose. And so when you think about archangels as an example, archangel means the messenger of God. And these forms were created so that they can assist others, assist humanity in, answering questions and helping them with different things. And we have these connections with these different beings who can teach us certain things. So there's no such thing as praying to. That's not something that they want. They don't want you to pray to them. And the ancient talk has been about prayer because we're so used to prayer, and prayer is amazing. Prayer is amazing to the divine, right? To God. Pray to the God. Experience the divine within you. And a most powerful manifestation of prayer is what Michael Beckwith talks about, which is basically knowing that the divine exists within you. So the way you pray is through confirmation and inviting this power within you and knowing that you're part of it and having gratitude that you're part of it. And through that, the prayer becomes extremely powerful. So with goddesses, as an example, let's take Goddess Athena. She's an ascended master. What I was being shown was she lived actually in Egypt, and she broke free from Egypt, and she went to Greece, and she created a great movement there in Greece. And she's all about, her energy is all about freeing ourselves from the shackles that we put on ourselves and standing in our power and not being afraid and saying, don't mess with me kind of thing. But she swears, like she literally, when someone starts channeling them, they're hearing all these F words constantly coming out of her mouth, because there's a strong force of energy saying, don't mess with me. Like she wants you to say that inside of yourself. Like when someone is trying to, and both men and women have felt suppression. Women have felt suppression a lot, and men have felt it in the corporate world as well. So when there's this suppression feeling and someone's telling you, no, you can't say this, don't do this, you have to behave this way, she wants us to say, don't F with me, basically. And I'm going to be who I'm going to be. And I'm going to stand on a mountaintop, and I'm going to be declaring my power to the world. So she wants us to have that vibration inside of ourselves and to heal past those things that have held us back from being that kind of person. I used to be afraid in front of a boardroom of 10 people. I was terrified. My body was shaking, and I was just not being who I could really be. And I had to slowly heal so that I could feel comfortable to be that person. And now it's kind of interesting because, and age, I think, has something to do with it. As you grow older, you kind of start to care less about certain things. But the teachings also have helped me too, to stand in that power. So the helpful thing about these ascended masters, these goddesses, these nature spirits and all that kind of stuff is that if you think about it, deep down inside, they're just fractals of the divine. And if you think of the divine as a circle, as a whole, and these fractals are coming from this circle, and to discover this wholeness, you learn everything about it. You learn about, love, you learn about power, you learn about intuition, you learn about whatever topic matter it is. And so these beings are fractals of that intelligence. It's kind of like they're the perfect ray of intelligence about that particular topic. So Kuan Yin is the perfect ray of intelligence about the topic of compassion. So if you want to experience compassion, just align with compassion or align with Kuan Yin and receive her teachings. Or you could just align with the intelligence and compassion, receive the teachings of this intelligence. And so either way, you could do it through God and receive the compassionate intelligence, or you could do it through the concept of Kuan Yin and receive that. But either way, we're all part of this God. So you're doing the same thing regardless. The thing, though, that is really important is to let go of the concept that they are higher than you and that they are better than you and that you need to pray to them and, do your, what's Durga?
Do you know Durga? There is a goddess Durga that is there in Hindu, and I think she's a angry god, probably. Because that's the same thing, because even in Hindu, there is goddess Kali, goddess Durga, and I think they have their tongues out and they're like all angry. So you got goddess Durga coming through, and what is she saying?
So it's just saying, don't do the Durga. Like, and, so the way it was kind of saying it was don't pray the way you pray to Durga. I don't, that's why I said, what's Durga? Because it didn't make any sense to me.
Can I Google it a little bit?
Yeah. So basically don't idolize. Instead, what you want to do is you want to capture the essence and the teaching of these beings.
There are these goddesses in Hindu gods where they have, it's true, they don't look like human beings. They're always in this. I think I had one.
She's probably going to be the next being that's going to come through for me soon to channel.
So do you know who that is?
Ganesha?
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so she's saying don't pray to Durga the way others, don't idolize it. So if they're saying that, does it mean that we just gave them the names gods and goddesses, etc.? Or maybe all of us are gods and goddesses. Probably when we pass, we would also be just goddesses and gods. Even if I don't pass, they could probably still channel Tanya. Is it true? Can they still channel me? Is it like that?
Can who channel you?
Can I just channel Genevieve?
Well, in essence, yes. That's why I love your questions. The questions, by the way, the type of questions you ask, no one asks, and that's what I love about you. And yes, in essence, you can, because we are all one. And if we can understand this and we have this concept of energy, I mean, that's one thing that they know about in science is that there's this energy flowing through everything and we're part of it. And if you can, let's just say this. So when a being first comes to me, like Kuan Yin, when she first came to me, what she did was she showed me her essence first. So she shared upon me this green color. That tends to be her aura. Sometimes she's rose, sometimes like pink, and sometimes she's white to people, right? So that's how she presented herself to me so that I would remember her or recognize her when she came again. So she showed me a particular green aura, and then she shared upon me this compassion. So she filled my body with this compassionate heart of hers, and she shared with me her softness and her Asian heritage. So she shared with me these things, and then I experienced her as that particular thing. Why people have used the word goddess is because they consider these beings a myth, and that's how they use the word. I continue to use the word because people recognize that word beforehand, and they're totally fine with that. It doesn't bother them in the least,
That makes sense. And just like how you said, it's difficult to use the word God. So I recently started reading this book called Conversations with God by Neil Donald Walsh. And I also try to avoid speaking with God for some reason because I feel like, I don't know, there's a disconnect. Like I would rather speak to gods as assistants, like the ascended masters or someone like that. But just directly to God, there was this disconnect. But after reading the book, I decided to channel God. And also for me to say that I'm decided to channel God to someone like you, Genevieve, that is very difficult because I consider you like professional channelers who can like really channel God. I don't know who I'm channeling, but the message that comes through is good. So I will share this one that came through where God was saying that that God is just observing what it is like to be Tanya, or even Donald Trump, or even Hitler. Because even when you are trying to be Donald Trump or Hitler or Bill Gates, you are still experiencing the grandiosity of being able to destroy. Because as God, you do have the power to create nations, continents, countries, and you also have the power to destroy. So you are experiencing the grandiosity and the wonder, the power of being God. So that came through when you were talking about the goddesses, because like I said, in Hindu goddesses, they have, and even goddess Athena, where you said that she was using the F word all the time. There is still power in being able to say, F you. This is still all facets of God.
That's powerful. Yeah. And you do definitely channel God, and we all do. We all have that ability. One thing that people don't recognize is that God is always talking to us, always communicating with us and helping us and guiding us. And we're actually listening. We just don't recognize that we're listening. And some actions that we take in life are because of that guidance. And if we can remember that this God is actually this intelligence, this field, this energetic field, because people have mistakenly thought energy is just energy. It doesn't have a love. It doesn't have an intelligence. But if we can understand that, then we understand, wow, like it's everywhere. We're part of it and we can communicate with it, and we're supposed to.
You've already released a course on how to channel. And I think that would be amazing for all the listeners of this podcast, of the people viewing it on YouTube, to come and get to know about the course. So is this an online course? Can you tell us a little bit more about them? Do they get one-on-one guidance as well?
So I've had people ask me for like 2 years, can you teach us how to channel? Can you teach us how to channel? And the funny thing is, I resisted because what I wanted people to connect to their higher self. I wanted them to connect to God, basically. And I didn't want them to mistakenly think, oh, if I can channel beings, then I'm worthy, then I'm something. I want them to experience that worthiness by connecting to God, right? So then I thought, Genevieve, you know what? You need to do it, because it's just crazy how many people have asked. And so I created a course called The Art of Channeling Your Higher Self and Benevolent Beings. And it's a 24 module course. It's 5.5 hours of training. It's a self-study course. And I literally was shown what to teach. So I just got told, okay, this is what the next video is about. This is what the next one is. This is how you're going to teach it. So basically it's helping people to understand even this concept of God and the soul and the spirit and energy, and moving up the ladder and being able to recognize this concept of frequencies, the concept of energy, the concept of goddesses, ascended masters. I take people through experiencing particular beings with me in the recording. I hold space for that energy so that they can start to recognize this energy, and I teach them how you can recognize it, because there's different ways that you can receive information through your senses. And if you can kind of hone in on those senses and get clarity with how your senses work, then it can really help you. And I've got tons of PDF documents, detailed exercises and all that. And so far I'm hearing some pretty good things, which, that thing where someone's like, wow, like that thing is so amazing what you're doing. Like it's changing me. I can't believe it. So that's what I'm hearing. And I'm like, wow, like that's, but that kind of feeling like, whoa, okay, this is,
oh, I'm God.
I'm glad it's helping, So it makes me, I was so nervous about doing it 2 years ago, but people are having some great results. So that makes me really happy.
I think it's definitely amazing that you're doing it. And there will not be enough courses or enough channelers on the planet or enough healers. The more people share about it, the more we would be able to give the power back to them. Can you also tell us the oracle cards? We have to talk about the oracle cards. I saw that you got it painted by professional artists in another country and you met them only once. What is that? How did that happen?
Yeah, so I call him my spirit brother, because I was shown that we actually we were brothers in It might have been in Indonesia. He's actually Indonesian, and he lives in Switzerland with his Polish wife. And so we learned in that other lifetime how to telepathically communicate with each other. And in fact, that was considered more of a normal thing amongst the people there. And we lived on this remote island, and I was his older brother. And so something happened where some people were going to come onto the island and they were going to do something bad, basically. So I had to leave the island and to somehow help protect the people on the island. And I left him and I said goodbye to him. And, maybe will be back or I'll be back, but we both knew that I wouldn't. And when we met in this lifetime, we both had that image, we had that memory, and we had tears. He had tears in his eyes when he hugged me, and I had tears.
Oh,
So it's like we're inseparable now. Like we're always going to be, we always call each other brother and a sister. Hi, my brother. And he's like, hi, my sister. Like it's the first thing that we say. It's like this kind of acknowledgement. And I do it with his wife too. She's my sister kind of thing. And so we always say that. And the way they came to me was when I was to write my oracle cards. I was told to write my oracle cards after when I was almost finished writing my book. And I thought, oh, like I got to do oracle cards now. And I said, well, I need a painter. And they said, well, do not look for one. We will send you one. And I said, okay, good luck with that. Have fun. And then next thing you know, I did a channeling at an event, online event. This woman asked me a question. I channeled Goddess Athena for about 3 minutes. She was so impacted by it. And that was the wife of the painter. So she told her husband, she's like, I need Athena in this house. You need to paint her. And he had a background painting. He was actually like quite a successful painter in the past. He had a store in Bali. They lived in Bali for a while. And he was selling all these paintings, like kind of like commercial art. And so he painted Athena. She took a picture of Athena and then she sent it to me. And I was on my honeymoon in Greece. And I thought, oh no, that's the painter. I know I have to get started. And so what happened was one being came to me after another telling me who is to be painted. And 22 of those came from my book. Those beings had to be part of these cards because the cards are called Heal and Awaken the Goddess Within Oracle cards. And same as my book is called that too. So these beings came through to me. I shared with him not what to paint. I didn't tell him the image of them. Sometimes I said, it's got to be blue, or it's got to be yellow, or it's got to have orange, but I didn't tell him what type of color. And so the way I did it was we painted images of what people experience in their mind's eye, not like looking like a human form, but looking like an energetic human type form. And so you can see the aura and the beautiful colors that exist. And so when he painted them, almost all the time, I didn't have to change the painting because it was exactly how I saw it. The exact tone of color, everything was how I saw it. And he told me, he said, you're projecting the image to me and I'm experiencing it, I'm painting it. And so he had to go through because with each being came through this initiation energy that comes through when I bring forth these beings and in my book as well. So it was quite an experience for him. And it was a lot for him to take on. And I know we're going to be doing more decks together. So basically we had they're like, I can't remember the size of the paintings, 120 centimeters.
Do you have the cards now?
So I have the cards. So the thing is, we had the paintings done, right? And then we had a museum photographer take picture of the paintings. And then I created the cards and I have the deck of cards. And I'm really excited about it because so I have the first draft and the images are incredible because there's like eagle spirit as an example, and then there's Daphne. We talked about Daphne. So there's Daphne, and so there's different beings that are coming through and it's how there's a soul femme. Whoops. Oh, there she wanted to pop up. Athena and elephant spirit. It's funny.
That's beautiful.
It's back your freedom, right? And it's funny because she was telling me she wanted to show her card and I couldn't find her. And then she just drops through right now. And then soul family. So reunion.
Wow.
So his paintings are incredible, and it's exactly how I saw them. So we are so blessed to be chosen to do this movement for people. And the whole purpose of these cards is to help awaken people and experience these beings. And this, I can't wait to get out in the world. So I have the draft. This is the final copy, and they're all printed now. So the shipping is going to take a month or two, basically, and then they're out. So I can't wait. Can't wait.
Me too. I mean, when I saw the paintings are huge, guys. This is, I mean, right now you just see it as a deck, but I saw there was a photo of you with the artist, and it was this big, and the colors were so vibrant. I don't know if the cards showed that amount of vibrancy, but in the painting, it's just so vibrant. And I got excited because this is the first time I actually get to see what Genevieve sees when she channels the gods and the goddesses. So that was so beautiful. I just wanted to get my hands on it. And I can't wait for you to get it shipped out. As Genevieve, where we can find you and the wonderful work that you do.
Yeah, you can find me on liveatransformativelife.com or GenevieveTaeger.com. And yeah, you'll find me there. And you'll find my book there. And I'm going to be publishing another book soon. And there are going to be teachings from different ascend masters, Elohims, angels, and nature spirits, and all that kind of stuff.
Thank you so much, Genevieve, for coming on the podcast and speaking with us today.
Thank you so much.